Everywhere we go and see this term, right? Training. Oh my God, do I have to go through training throughout my life? Well, I'm afraid I have to say yes, because some or the other training is equal to learning. If you do not get trained on something, how would you learn? But most of the people don't say that what is typically training. A lot of people get deviated by this particular term because they have a different notion altogether. And what is that particular notion? They think training is equal to teaching. Now, why this particular mindset is not great for a person who really wants to learn? Teaching is something where we can get to see a teacher. Teacher is someone who knows everything. That's the kind of atmosphere, that's the kind of mindset, that's the kind of aura that we have. Because we have been watching it since our childhood. The teacher is there to teach us something that we don't know, right? So we definitely need to admire. But how many people do really admire our teachers? I do not know the number, but I'm not sure whether most of the people do. But anyways, what I have found out so far, considering my experience, considering my observation, which I personally believe that something is there in their psyche. And you know what is that? What's related to somehow the other ego. You know why? Because when a teacher is teaching, say for example, I'm in 8th standard or 5th standard or something, and the teacher who is teaching me, who is much elder than me, we do admire a teacher considering the fact that we don't know, my teacher knows. But now when it comes to corporate life, when it comes to professional life, when it comes to business, there that ego comes into picture. Because if you are training, or rather if you are providing training, and if you're trying to teach me, back of my mind, it plays a vital role and it haunts me by saying, who are you to teach me? So the person who is actually providing the training, who is the person who is actually sharing the knowledge, that person is not a teacher. This is where we have to draw a line. This is what we have to educate the new resources or new human resources or newcomers to any organization. Training is about sharing. What we are providing you, typically that's what we have learned through the process. And that's the reason we are sharing. This is how it happens. But you can come up with some better idea. You can come up with some better approach, better technique that we all are open to learn. And who knows, you might be one of the trainers in future and you will be sharing your knowledge, expertise with the new joiners. This is something that we have to build. Maybe we are lacking in some or the other. Maybe that trainee is much more experienced than the trainer. So some or the other that ego will come into picture because you all are human beings. It's an undeniable fact. Comparison comes into picture, and through comparison, ego gets created. And if we try to find out why do we have ego, there are multiple reasons behind it. But it's one of the major reasons that we always think training is not learning. Training is teaching. This is the concept we need to change immediately so that we can create a better training platform, a better training program, which will be effective for all. It's not about learning a particular process. It's about learning the fundamentals and learning different cases, learning different situations and how all of them are handled. And then only we'll be able to come up with a better way to handle it. So it's always said the training period is a vital period to learn something and concentrate, but most of the people don't pay attention to it. Still now, because of that particular reason, which I have observed, somehow or the other they think they're not in school. Then why the other person is trying to teach me? Please understand, A trainer is not a teacher. A trainer is a facilitator. A trainer is an experienced resource in the same domain or process, and that person is trying to share his or her knowledge with you and what he or she has faced, so that you guys don't face that situation and you guys act like a pro when the situation arises to handle it in a better way. The quickly we can understand, we can make up our mind, how quickly we become a pro. So training is an inevitable part of each and every process. Training is an even inevitable part of each and every business even, because somehow or the other we have to learn something through different experiences. So our mind, our heart should be open to learn something through training, not through teaching.